Hello, my name's John. This is my Deathwatch Terminator Captain, and you're watching War Games, Models, and Other Hobbies. Hello and welcome back to the third video in this little series of making a Deathwatch Terminator Captain. I'll leave a link in the description to the first two videos, but in this one what I'm going to be doing is making the base for this model. And to do that, I am going to use parts from the Void War bases from Warhammer. Now, it's a really good kit, this one, for bases for your models, but it only has three sizes of bases. We've got 25mm, 28mm, and 32mm. So they don't have 40mm for Terminators and things like that. And likewise for the Captain, who has, I think without measuring this one, it's a 50mm. They don't have one. So I'm going to convert one. So I've already cut a few bits from the sprues, so I've got some floor pieces and a few other little details. And what I've also done is I've stuck a disc of plastic to the base because I just wanted to take off the texture that normally sits on the base. I didn't want to have to worry about filling the holes. So I'm going to put the Terminator to one side, and I've already kind of worked out where I want a few things to go on this one. So the first thing I need to do is position the floor plates, but then at the same time I'm going to have to work out where to trim them. Now, I don't know whether to trim them while they're on the base. No, what I'm going to do, so I know that one's going to go that way round. Just going to move that one out of the way. I'm going to carefully put my finger down and hold that. And then trying to see this with the camera in the way is a little bit tricky, but I'm just going to mark some of this up. So looking at that way around. Okay, so I don't need to worry about that bit that I've just marked up, but I will just go like that. And the way I'm going to clip that is with my clippers. I know it's going to give a bit of a diagonal edge on the bit that I'm getting rid of, but that's okay because I can tidy that up if needed on another piece. So there is that one. While it's not on the base, let's give it a little bit of a tidy. I don't think it's going to matter if the edges don't match up perfectly with the curve anyway. I think that one's going to fit there. Obviously that's not going to fit on this side, but actually, oh, sorry, I'm off camera there. Will fit on that side, I think. So I'm going to put that to one side. And I think what I need to do with this piece, let's cut it there and there. There and just there. Nice and carefully. I can always tidy this up later, but what I need to do now is glue this one in place so I can then work off with the other pieces. Let's go for this one. I'm looking where the disc at the bottom's the tidiest. I think that's a good spot where I've got it. So I'm going to put my finger on there to hold it in place, and I'm going to capillary action along the edge of this, and that's already holding it in place, but we're going to add a little bit more glue in some of these gaps in the grating. Not all of them, but just a few. There we go. So there is the first bit down. Now the next one, which, let's have a look. I will go for this one. I don't mind that it's coming up a little bit there, that's okay. What I will do though is I'm not going to worry about trimming, or do I? No, I will do. Let's trim that little bit off. Put that to one side. I can always add extra little bits of detail here and there later on. Okay. I want to give a little bit more space in between the grating. So that's okay, there we go. Run the glue down the side of that. There we go. So there is that side there. Now, what I want to do, I don't want to put the next piece right up next to it. I want to separate these out, and I'm going to use this little fan section and then this little box section here. And I'm thinking I'm going to put the box like that, and then the fan itself I'm going to trim off the pipes and move it further this way, but then the pipes themselves I'm going to kind of work out a way to put them in place in the gap. So let's trim this, so I don't want to stick that other piece down just in case I put it in the wrong place. So I want to be nice and careful when I trim this. I might just see if it'll snap. No, let's be careful while I do this. I don't want to rush it and ruin it. There we go. So let's just tidy that up a little bit. Don't mind if there's a few rough edges. Okay. So yeah, so let's, I think the fan just needs to sit at the edge anyway, so that's going to position somewhere there. I think the box can line up with the edge of the floor plate, so let's put the box in place. Apologies if you can hear traffic in the background, I never know if it comes across on camera. And then when I'm editing I forget that there was traffic, apart from when I say apologies if you can hear traffic. Okay, so that's enough glue on that bit. And the reason why I'm putting that box there, if I grab the Terminator, is that box is the perfect height for the step up of the feet that this character model has. So let's have a I want to try and get the most out of these little pieces as possible. So I'm going to cut off that pipe that goes to a right angle. So I've got a little bit of an extra detail somewhere else. I think I'm going to do something like that and trim that off. So let's trim that so it's no longer at an angle. Yeah, that'll work. Just tidy up. Oh, fuck. Right, let's pause that. I f***ed up. Always be really careful when you're using your scalpel, and yeah, don't cut across the top of your thumb. Yeah, we all make mistakes. I haven't cut myself in a long time, but luckily I have a full first aid kit and I've patched myself up, and yeah, anyway, let's carry on with the model. So I've trimmed this nicely. I'm not going to trim it anymore because that'll be asking for trouble, and I'm going to have to start working with my left hand for a little bit, just so, yeah, that's going to line up nicely. Yeah, it's typical, isn't it, that, oh, let's just get some of that, let's get the blood off my finger. Yeah, it was bound to happen one day that I actually cut myself on video, but hey, it happens, doesn't it? But I do have a very well stocked first aid kit because of my old career. Okay, yeah, so this is kind of going to fit in there. What I think I'm going to do before I stick the fan and things in place is position this side of the grating. So I'm going to trim that one. Let's mark these. I'm going to need to go there and there. That's going to be through that central piece. Okay. Yeah, in all seriousness, please be careful when you're using tools like scalpels and things like that. If you're not paying attention, you can really quite badly hurt yourself. I was quite lucky then. Well, I cut myself quite deeply, but I have patched it up. Okay. And okay, that'll fit in there nicely. Yeah, like I said, I think I said earlier, I can trim and tidy these up a little bit more once the base is all glued together. So right now what I'm going to do is get my, there we go, let's just get my ruler because I want to make sure. Okay, so it's 10mm at that end. That's now 10mm at that end. Doesn't look quite level though. Let's just carefully get it into position. There we go. Okay. Just hold that in position, and that's going to be just that. Okay. I want to make sure I get a similar gap. There we go. And what I did with the disc that I stuck to the top of the base, it is a small disc of acrylic, and I sanded it to key it, because then what will happen with the Tamiya glue that I use, it'll stick and bond really quickly. There's a hair just there, I want to grab that. There we go. Okay. Yeah, like I said, I'll tidy these bits up later, but let's get the fan. That's going to fit in there quite nicely. Now, do I go with a control unit by the box? Let's zoom in a little bit. So I could do a control unit there, and then the fan will sit there, or let's use my other, and there we go. That goes in like that, and that goes like that. I think I like the other way around. So let's position that there, and then get some glue. I'm thinking I'm not necessarily going to stick the Captain down onto this right now, in case I need to tweak and adjust any of the sides, which I know I do have to do. But also, it might be easier to paint this when it's separate. There we go. If you've got any other ideas for bases that I could do, please drop it in the comments. I actually quite enjoy doing bases, because yeah, every model needs them. So I've got all the little scrap bits, I'll push them off to one side. Let's zoom out a little bit. So here we have that base now, and the Captain is going to be standing something like that. So what I will do, as always, I'll put some pictures at the end of the video. I'll probably do a little bit of tidying up of places so he stands a little bit nicer. But for now, all I can say is thank you so much for tuning in. My name's John, and you've been watching War Games, Models, and Other Hobbies.